All right, guys, welcome. This is going to be a Stam Warden build specifically for Imperial City. Let me bring in my camera. I've had a lot of questions what this build is when I'm killing a bunch of people with AoE, which is what this build's focused around. I'm going to be running this pretty much the whole IC event, which I already have been. It's a lot of AoE damage, basically. It's built around killing groups. If you come down here and IC, I mean, there's gankers here and there, and you can kill that stuff pretty easily with this. But most of what you run into is people kind of grouping up and relying on each other. A lot of people that come down to IC now are just really farming. But they do travel in packs, and that's really what this build is meant to break. People that group up, it plays to that advantage. So it's a stamina-based build, and I'll flip through the equipment. This works on CP or non-CP as well. I don't know if I'll post the champion points in this video, wherever I put it. I'll put them below because people always ask for that. But I mainly do non-CP now, and I'll continue doing a lot of non-CP. Between Battlegrounds and non-CP campaign, I do truly prefer it, but either way, this works in both. And frankly, battle testing something in non-CP is a good way to see how it will, transfer to CP. But let's get right to the equipment. That's what people want to know. I'll show various options here as well. I'll start with what I run right now, live. It's going to be a medium build. 5 medium, 1 heavy, 1 light. Since I can help it, I put the heavy on the chest. The light goes on the belt. So this is using Imperial Physique. So this is why this is really just an Imperial City build. This gives a ton of stats, as you can see here. So the 5 pieces, 7,200 health, magicka, and stam. This thing is going to cover you big time. And again, why it works so well on non-CP. Non-CP, you have lower max stats pretty dramatically, which is something you need to move up to be able to survive. So to run this build and run Imperial Physique, you're going to need to be able to carry Telvar, which means you're going to have a healthy amount of Telvar. In my case, I've PvP'd a lot in IC, so I'll just come here, after PvPing, like, you only need 10k, so when you go out and you fight and you can come back, you can just deposit whatever's left over. If you start to work up a pretty decent supply, you can pretty much run this all the time, which I'm able to. And despite losing some, and I even play more than risky. Like, I'll just stay out there and fight while I'm on stream to try to attract people to come fight. And they do, which is good. But you'll still make out pretty well. Not to mention the bonus allows you to get 4 times the stones off things while you're out there. So if you kill a boss, you're going to get 4 times the amount of stones. So it's not too hard to build up a decent supply of Telvar to be able to run this set. It's night and day. It's pretty much the strongest set out there, but it can only be run in Imperial City. Anyway, so I put this 5-piece on the body. Again, 5 medium, 1 heavy here, 1 light in the belt. That's for armor. And the reason is, you want to take advantage of Undaunted passives here, which will give you 2% more max health, stam, and magicka. And in this case, it pays off more than ever with a set like this, where you're really ramping those stats up. So you really want to try to go 5-1-1 here. In my case, for what I'm doing, I run Vicious Death here. I do fine killing people, even though I'm using this. This is a magicka set. All right, make no mistake. Spell damage, max magicka, spell crit. These things do very little for my build. The max magicka is always welcome. That's nice. But it's really the 5-piece. It's when you kill a player, they violently explode for a lot of damage. And I'll demonstrate that in a bit. Uh, so if you are one-on-one with something, this is obviously not your most ideal setup because this set really does nothing for you at that point. It's really when you're encountering groups. With that said, you can still take on a lot of targets due to the fact that you're running Imperial Physique, which gives you a huge leg up. You just really need to combo properly. These swords, I just left them. These are old swords from old Vicious Death days, so I didn't even transmute them. I just left them both sharpened. You could do like a Nirnhoned and an infused weapon damage one. It's nice. It's definitely better than doing two sharpened, I'd say. The reason I left sharpened is because I have different variations of how I run this. So when I'm right now, you'll look at the traits here. I have 2 swift, or actually this is 3 swift right here, which I kind of toss these around. I'll mix and match. I have a setup here with harmony, so you'll see that probably in some of the clips I show. This is strictly for group play. Like, you have to have something to take advantage of with this. In my case, it would be like Gravity Crush. So I'll run with Templars and can drop a Nova, and I can synergize it and do a lot more damage with Harmony on. At which point you give up Swift. And 3 Swift you wouldn't need here. I think I was, while it's not the best, I had these for when I was Emperor. These are just triunes, they're just general stat ones. It's not bad. I would say it's not the best, but I don't think if you're Orc and medium, you're not going to need more than 2 Swift. You know, you'll be fine with 1, maybe 2. Because you're going to start capping out once you're sprinting at that point. But in any event, the Harmony one for group play, if you can do it, that's great. Otherwise, what I would run is probably 1 to 2 Swift. And honestly, probably, like, if I had to pick, non-emp over Triune, I'd probably put like an infused weapon damage or something. But I already have a lot of stuff floating around here. Anyway, that's that. But re-enchant these things. I usually run at least 1 stam recovery, 2 weapon damage maybe, sometimes 2 recovery. Again, it's kind of a mix and match depending on the environment I'm in. But so your 5 Vicious Deaths will be 3 jewelry and 2 weapons, which means it's only active on this bar, not the 2-hander bar. For the 2-hander, I do have a Master Axe, and I do use Cleave. But again, unless you're doing something along the lines of fighting really large groups and using a Harmony-based thing, I would probably switch this to maybe, I don't have my Asylum on me, maybe an Asylum 2-hander. Reason being, in Imperial City, you can build ults very, very quickly with Asylum. Otherwise, it kind of wouldn't matter what you have here, right? Like, because of the way the bar is going to be set up, you're not going to have much more options beyond having 1 2-hander skill. If I have the Master, I'll use Brawler. If I have Asylum, I can put in Reverse Slice. Alternatively, you could have neither of those, and maybe even rather than run this, you run something more for sustain, which for people that, if you really want to stay alive, whether it be a burst heal, I kind of move away from burst healing. I rely on mobility, line of sighting, getting away from the pack. Because if you just start slamming heals, at a point you're just going to die when you get overrun. A really good sustain skill not here in the bar is probably Vines. Or if you wanted to go for an offensive thing in group play, you could do Bird of Prey. For simplicity's sake, I will keep this here real quick, just to show you the skill bars. We'll come back to, well, I might as well do the monster set. I have Balorgs, again, group play stuff. Solo is the best? No. Can I make great use of it still? Yes. Reason being, you can build ult very quickly. And Balorgs will give you a pretty big damage increase, since it goes beyond whatever. Here, let me show here. I'll put on food real quick. You can just see the general, a big skyrocket on weapon damage with Balorgs. Because you're not fighting non-stop in Imperial City. You're generally out on the prowl looking for a fight somewhere. So in that case, you can see I have weapon damage add-on there, which is Gray Skull. People always ask. It's at 2,800. That right there pushes it up. And Battle Orgs will skyrocket it there, right? So it really moves it up. And it gives me a window to do a lot of damage in. And again, you can see my ult's out now. And you can build it pretty quick with Warden, which I'll show. But you'll see with Asylum how I can just move through the dungeon. You see my ult with Asylum, I do this. You see how quickly it moves up, right? And now I can leverage Battle Orgs more frequently. Really get the most out of it. And if you build it up to 500, it'll multiply, 500 times 2 and give you 1,000 weapon damage for 10 seconds. So that's pretty big. But that's for your most offensive options. The other two really good options, Troll King, probably if you're solo, especially if you're not using a burst heal. Well, frankly, for both. If you have a burst heal, I would lean more towards, like, if you really want to put spores on your bar, which is effective. I find it, I kind of don't like spores. I think it's a little too strong. But I prefer playing away from it. Like, I would normally go Vines. It's going to give you a strong heal over time. It also allows you to leverage this passive Nature's Gift, like non-stop, which is very underrated. So that's an option there. But monster sets, you can do a lot. You'll see some clips I use Veladrith, which for the way this functions is not bad, especially on non-CP. I got tired of Veladrith because it takes too long to proc. Like, when it actually procs, there's a second delay, and by the time that happens, it's pretty dumb. I think it's designed, Veladrith, overall, for PvP. When they had to nerf a lot of proc sets, they kind of made some of them dumb. That one would be in that category. Anyway, let's go through the bar setup. Your dual wield is considered your front bar here. This is where you really want to pack your punch. So I do rending here for this. This is the two-handed, or the dual wield bleed skill. Very cheap for what it does. A lot of damage. It's 2 instances of damage up front and then a dot. And it's also going to be your functional slow. Your only slow. So you want to get the one that slows. Subterranean core to the Warden. I hate that NPC. You know what? A lot of them drive me nuts. Let's just get outside so I don't have to hear them. We got Steel Tornado, which is going to be used not only as our closer and our AoE, it's kind of your spammable. The way this is going to work, and the way I've been playing Warden, which is very effective, and it kind of doesn't make sense, I would expect change in the future, is how much Steel Tornado gets used. Now, some people use it not so effectively. It depends on your build. If you're just in there slamming away at it, you will chew up your stam pretty quick for damage that's not that great. It's, depending how much you can ramp up your stats. But if you combine it for good punches, what I mean by that is combos. So I'll come back to this in a second. Let me just go through the rest. We got Vigor, Shimmering Shield, which I swear by. It's very, very strong. This also gives you Major Heroism. So that's going to help you. That's going to help you as well build ult, Major Heroism, which again goes in tandem with the option of Asylum. All in all, Wardens can build ult very quickly, especially with Shimmering Shield. Even on the mobs, you can leverage this. Major Heroism's crazy. So being able to build ult and rotate combos is good because you do not have an active stun with this setup. But since Wardens can build their ult so quick, you use Dawnbreaker not only as your punch and burst combo, but it's frankly like nearly a reliable stun that comes up. It's got a little bit of a cooldown is almost the way you look at it because you get it so quickly. On the back bar, again, you could either have cleave here, or I would recommend cleave to only people that are, you know, can really master and run the build very well. For starters, I would, if you can get an asylum, I would try using that to build ults quickly. It's probably going to give you the most success. For survival, you can either put like spores or vines here. This is your rotation slot. If you have any, this is it. Ice Fortress for your armor. Green Lotus. Now, Green Lotus is good. You are going to do a lot of light and heavy attacks, in which case this is going to heal you pretty constantly. So you're in the fights, you're going to be doing a lot of dual wield heavies. Dual wield heavies are nice, clean hits, very effective, but you'll also get heals off Green Lotus, like you can see right here, 3,300 crit. Pretty nice. So, yeah, I do really like it. It gives you savagery as well. So when you go back to your dual wield bar, you know, you're kicking a pretty decent crit rate between having savagery up all the time and medium. And you do want some, like, you need a decent crit. If you get crits with this combo, things die. Like, that's just how it goes. And then lastly, we have Bullnesh. The brutality is redundant here. This is really just for sustain. Okay. So this is pretty good sustain setup. I would say with the vines, it's pretty good for someone to come in and learn this. Although this isn't really a super beginner build, because getting Imperial Physique, you're going to have to be able to PvP a bit, and be able to farm some stones. Okay, so that's the gear, that's the skills. Alright, so we got Smiting on the front bar here, Ice Storm on the back. I do use Ice Storm with Balorgs, it's pretty effective, and with Steel Tornado. The other place Master Axe is pretty cool down here is it is actually really nice against the mobs. There are NPCs everywhere down here. Alright, let me show you. If you, I'll hit a group of mobs just so you can see. I really don't feel like aggroing him. Alright, though. I should show you the pots as well. Pots I use down here. Move speed is absolutely key right now. It's very big. We want expedition pots I use. So I use ones with the movable and stam, and I can pop these while I'm engaging. So these 4 buffs you want to put up before you engage, right? Your Netch, brutality, your armor, Green Lotus. Now you're going to engage your target. You're going to put up Subterranean, Popper, Shimmering, come in with the pot loaded, and unload your combo. That's really rotation that you're gonna do. Now what's really going on here with this combo is you have the dual wield, which is 2 instances of damage. You have rending going off, which is 2 slashes. And then you can also bash, which I do a lot of. Now bash will chew up your stamina, so be careful with bashing. If you're in a place where you need to conserve your resources, because you're about to take damage, or people are moving in, or whatever it may be, then be careful about bashing. Otherwise, like if you're going for a kill, especially if you're going to Dawnbreak, then bash is good. It is a good chunk of damage. It's another instance. So that's... Let me get rid of this thing real quick. Okay. So that's 2 from Rending, 2 from Dual Wield, 1 from Bash. So that's 5 just on your up front. Number 6, Subterranean, hitting. And then number 7 would be Dawnbreaker. Okay? And all you'd really be doing is doing the heavy and rending. You can cancel it with the bash, and then chuck down the Dawnbreaker. And after that, you're cleaning up your target with Steel Tornado. Now, even without Dawnbreaker, and when it's not up, you can still do a heavy attack, rending, right? Then Subterranean would go off, and you can still Steel Tornado. Target that's not blocking is going to take a lot of damage still. So we'll demonstrate that the mobs will die very quickly. So that's a thing. But so it's kind of tough to demonstrate with mobs. All right, we aggro this thing pretty. So here we go. That's kind of what I want you to see, is the timing of that combo. There's enough that I got the front part off with rending, and then Subterranean comes out, and a tornado is right behind it. We'll do it again. Subterranean going in with shimmering. Right? Do it again on this guy. Let me shake this boss off real quick. I think this isn't focused on single target, but you can push it more towards that. And to do that, again, an option would be dropping then Vicious Death and putting kind of any standard damage setting there. Maybe it be, if you really want to boost your sustain, you could do Shackle Breaker on both bars. I would recommend doing Spriggans in there for offensive. You should be pretty good on your stats here. We're running the Serpent here. The food we use is Artaeum, which is very good, and very good on work. Yeah, health recovery. Stack this all with Troll King, and again, put that Troll King and Binds together. And defensively solo, it can do very well as far as sustaining. I was going to show you the cleave is pretty nice in here too, just for PvE. If you do happen to have one and you want to have fun with cleave, it's a very hard skill to make use of. But this is definitely a build that can do it because of Ice Storm as well. I'll demonstrate. Because it's just so effective. Now the other thing I want to show you is, you see how much Tornado does there? 5k, 5k, and then a 10 crit. Now watch the difference with Cleave. Okay, 27k crits. Can do, you know, more than double the damage. So if we pop this, and then start cleaving, it's pretty nice on people. If they're chasing, you got like 5 people, 6 people chasing you in a hall, you know, you can just Ice Storm, turn back on it with, you know, put that up Subterranean, turn back with Ice Storm, come in, and start cleaving. Again, it's something I use, but I wouldn't recommend most people trying it until they've really... It's difficult to use. It's really not always optimal, and I think Cleave's just very hard to use by nature of the skill and the move speed in the game. You know, it's not the most meta thing at all. The meta thing right now is Steel Tornado, without a doubt. I think we can expect changes to that, but for them to really do that, they're gonna have to look at stuff like Cleave and see why it doesn't work well. And the reason being is it doesn't hit targets well, especially on the move. But that's where Permafrost can be a great equalizer. In a tight area with Permafrost slowing targets, you can hit them with Cleave. But, you know, it's something you want to practice and understand the hitbox of Cleave. Like, you see that first one actually missed? Because I wasn't really standing there yet. Like, the hitbox moves very strange. And it doesn't even... It can hit a bit behind you, too. Or to the side. Like, these are things you want to test out to see, like, where's my cleave gonna hit, right? Because I'll see people going in with this thing and they're not hitting anything with it. Again, if you sprint towards a target, you expect the cleave to hit some things, and at times it just doesn't hit targets, right? Like, that guy gets missed coming in on approach. But if you stand still next to him at this distance, the game says, oh, okay, you're in range. It's because of the difference. It's like playing Counter-Strike with 250 ping, you know, and you know. So stick to Tornado is what I would suggest. People see this on stream and they see the cleave working. It works because I've used it a lot and I've seen how much it fails. I watch stuff in slow-mo. There are places it can very much be used. Let me try to find some clips real quick, and we can go through some actual footage of this you know, in combat, things like that. But yeah, I do have some good cleave clips too, but I probably don't have them on hand. Let's see if I can pull one up. One of my favorite kills when I was Emperor, I think I was Emperor, is with cleave. Yeah, here we go. This is a good one. Look, someone's clipped it as get wrecked. All right, I'll bring it up here. So, and this is not for this build. This is my Dragon Knight. We'll do other builds and stuff too, but this is just an example of cleave. If you haven't seen it before, on what it can potentially do. Because I don't think I have much of the Warden cleaving because I haven't fought a lot of big groups. But here's a ball group, right? It's good to, again, understand what's going on in the clip. I've already used it once up here. You can see 10k, 8.8, 10k. And this is with Vicious Death too. So it's the same build concept in mind, leveraging Vicious Death on a Stam build. And then there's one brawler that happened to punch through somebody and proc a Vicious Death, right? Just one swing, and then a second swing. And I mean, the whole raid was it's not a full raid, you know, that's probably like 10 people or something, but the whole thing got wiped, all right? That's the face of happiness when a actual brawler happens to land. So I would steer clear of it. I use it a lot on stream. I wanted to put it in the build video. I would probably look at an asylum option there. But let's look at some. Let me bring this over. We'll surf through some clips of, you know, recent. Let me do the last week. Should have some good clips here. So let's pull them up and see what's going on here. So this is group play. Probably with that group, like I have a couple Templars probably. This is probably with the Harmony jewelry, okay? So looking for the big gravity crushes. I'm gonna slow it down again, just so you can again see what the hell's going on. So we're corralling a group into a tunnel, kind of baiting them. To see if they'll advance, because inside a tunnel you are pretty much king with this build. So we come in here just doing subterranean heavies, right? Anyone gets low, you do a tornado, and that pretty much is your rotation a lot. So here comes the group. You can see they're pushing now, just coming in, detonates all the stuff, right? Subterranean's going. Wow, that all happened very quickly. Okay. So it looks like I just smashed my Dawnbreaker. Unfortunately, there's so many targets, it's hard to capture everything. You missed all the Dawnbreaker hits, at least on the recount. You can see some numbers above heads, but a lot of these are Vicious Death. So somebody died to the Dawnbreaker, and we have 2 Vicious Deaths that already hit somebody. We have the option for Gravity Crush ready to go. Boom, there we hit Gravity Crush, screen kind of goes white. It only happens to hit 3 people, it looks like, so we got 10k, 9k, 8k. You get some Vicious Deaths rolling in, and then, you know, we used our ult, and we're already at 300 ult from the kills so far. It's hard to see, sorry, this is the foliage and stuff. So having an ult up already, boom, we come out, we crack another ult right there, another Dawnbreaker. Do a tornado for closing, boom, you see the flames, another Vicious Death explosion. Subterranean goes off, so that Vicious Death hit 2 people. Subterraneans go off, hits 2 people. We have 2 more dead there. These are the kind of fights I engage with this. And we do group play as the day goes on. Usually I start out doing either like solo or duo or something. Okay, let's check this one out. So here we go, Subterranean going in. Put up the Shimmering. Boom. We did a Dawnbreaker. Subterranean popped off. Let's see it again. I can see I had Veladrith in this one. This might actually be a good example of what I don't like about Veladrith. Now, the first thing that goes off there is Dawnbreaker. Something that's key with this and playing with this, ideally, you'd like Subterranean to hit first so you can get major fracture on all those guys you Dawnbreak. Ideally, you'd like that. But it doesn't always work out like that. The most important thing you can do, especially with this and Vicious Death, is group them. So when you have people in front of you, you have the opportunity to CC them and keep them grouped so that if they do die, they will take Vicious Death damage. That's more important. Positioning is key. It always takes the cake, really. So we do a Dawnbreaker here. Two of them get crit. This guy takes 9.2. This dude takes an 11.7. So that's a pretty heavy punch. There's Veladrith procking out. God knows when it's going to land. Subterranean just popped off, hit 4 people. None of them crit. Oh well. Dawnbreaker ticks once for dot damage. Here comes the Steel Tornado, which hits an ungodly amount of people. Not doing huge. Getting a couple crits in there. You're looking to finish off a couple of these targets. We're very close to having a very opportune VD explosion here. In fact, it looks like he's turned into flames right now. Maybe he did before that. It's hard to say. There's another Steel Tornado. Yeah, Vicious Deaths are proccing. So the damage log can't capture everything I got going on here when I hit groups this big. But we killed somebody. Vicious Death procs beforehand. Then the Steel Tornado comes in. That's just how the game treats things that proc like that. Here comes another Tornado. Another 2 Vicious Deaths proccing. So you can see where these people grouping up, where we can take advantage of this. With this kind of setup. Now, ideally, Vicious Death is a Magicka set used on Magicka, but what you really get to see is the ability to strike, not have to be a stealth bomber, but, you know, the reason you can get away with this is because it's Stam Warden. Having Subterranean with Dawnbreaker combined, and then tacking on Steel Tornado, these are 3 things that allow for heavy spikes of AoE damage. Now, other Stam classes can do heavy spikes, but none of them have Subterranean. None of them have anything like it. That's what defines the Warden, really, is its ability to have Subterranean and use it effectively. And the build is kind of carved around what a Warden is, which I would say is that. So again, there's just another playback of it. Cleaning those guys up. All right, let's look at another. So, oh boy, Dusty Warehouse Gifting. I'm sorry, my alerts they were too big. I didn't realize. I just moved my PC in the last week, so some of those alerts were blocking things until I fixed it. I didn't realize how big it was. It was like defaulted at a size too big. Great, it's covering up all the action here. Great. All right. What you can see is I don't think I'm wearing Harmony here, but I still use the Gravity Crush. Even without Harmony, it's nice. Subterranean went off. Dawnbreaker followed it immediately. You see these numbers. We got a 12K and 11K. The 19K, I think, I hope, is the mob. Otherwise, someone's got some real rough equipment. There's your Tornado. Veladrith is on here. That hits. There's our Gravity Crush, which explodes people. You'll see the Vicious Death right before it. So, unfortunately, this recount's not the best thing to capture, but these things are good to look at. You can see when the Vicious Death is hitting. So if you hit Gravity Crush, which I did, again, it kill whichever target dies, it procs the Vicious Death off of before the damage delivers. It's very strange coding, but that's not a great clip anyway to see what's going on. Okay, let's look at this. So here we go. Boom, again. It's that combo, that punch, right off the start. I want to see if there's some clips. where maybe I'm not with as much of a large group, so you can see pretty much what's going on. Let's see what this guy is, this poor guy.
Turn around, go to the back to the middle. In the rapids. Got a grenade, drop it on these guys. Over.
So yeah, and our team play, I even time my burst with Gravity Crush, so you're talking Gravity Crush, Subterranean, and Dawnbreaker. The ability to time those together is pretty vicious. I'm not sure what's going on here. Okay. This is probably a wipe kill.
Drop a Nova on the right side, see it?
Okay, yeah, that's a good, perfect example. So here's another grouping, and you get a lot of these because there's a lot of people doing Molag Bal, which is where you want to use this kind of stuff. So you come in here. Here comes a heavy attack. If you can ever get the heavy attack too, even when you're doing the AoE combos, the key is to get at least one dead. And how much damage you can start off the fight off with just, also getting that heavy attack in. Again, sometimes you can't. Sometimes you have to Dawnbreak at a certain point to be like, hey, I have so much in front of me, and this is the perfect opportunity. So I'm doing a heavy attack. I've already used Dawnbreaker now. Even though you see the heavy attack, I think I canceled it. The numbers are flying off here. You're about to see the damage on their health. So there it is. We stun, we lock these people down. They're together. Anytime I can get at least 3 side by side, someone's going to die in there. Like, that's the point. At which case, they will all die, right? Vicious Death just popped off because the Steel Tornado just came out. There's a Gravity Crush right there. Wow, that's just flying by. So there's our Gravity Crush. Looks like a mob took 43,000 damage from that. That's a lot. Someone got hit for 11k, but Gravity Crush is very wide, and it also is another stun that you can follow up with. It's very underutilized. It's just most people don't work together well in this game, so it doesn't get used much. But if you have a group of people to play with, I highly recommend it. So we're gonna follow up. We already have another Dawnbreaker. I see a werewolf. I want to take him out with it, which is why I know I popped it there. It's gonna do more damage there. Getting rid of a werewolf is good because they're one of those guys that can chase you down. Things that will chase you when you kite are like Magicosaurus, Nightblades, werewolves, people that go batshit crazy, just chasing you with gap closers or something, or streak. You want to get rid of those guys if you can help it, because otherwise you can just ping pong around this fight. I may not kill them all here, right? In a lot of these fights, I don't come in and kill them all right away. I can come in and take a punch out of them with this combo, and then run around, build a new ult, and do it again. And having stuff like Shimmering Shield is what gets you out of there. So we just smacked down that werewolf pretty quick. We didn't get to finish the others there. So I had Caltrops in here actually as my one option. That's probably just for, again, controlling people that are grouping. So there's a lot of clips on here, that demonstrate this stuff. You can check them out on my Twitch. Here's an example. These guys are about to get blindsided. You can tell they're just sitting around. And, I think my group was coming. I remember this. I was like, no, let's just go. They don't even know. And you see how grouped they are. Like, this just screams, please Vicious Death me now. Right? So here's our Subterranean. Someone drops the Nova. I come in. Dawnbreaker, immediately Gravity Crush. And you look at all the damage out, right? Half of them are dead already. Just that quickly. Which is part of why I keep the Sharpened on the weapons, because that Sharpened gives you Spell Pen, which helps with synergies. So again, here we go. Dawnbreaker right there. Immediately Gravity Crush and Vicious Deaths. Just all over. Half that group's already dead. There's another Dawnbreaker because I have one instantly. So those are the kind of things you can pull off, and you're not even slow. You can just, you know, keep moving because you're a Warden. Well, you're a Stam, but yeah, Warden has great defense mobility as well. Shimmering Shield, very strong. So boom, there's another one. Gravity Crush after Subterranean Punch. Just, there's plenty of these on here, but hopefully by this time you get the point. Oh, I think we saw this one earlier, right? Yeah, so so I think that kind of covers that. It might have been very extensive, all the clips and whatnot, but I like to kind of give demonstration because it's very hard to give you demonstration otherwise. Again, when you're peeling away, like when you go in after you do that bust and you unleash your combo, you need to make a judgment call on getting the hell out. And if you're alone, what I would do, and you're outnumbered, is you gotta line of sight and you gotta stretch out your targets. So like in the middle where there's the circle, I will punch it, and I will start wrapping around, hugging that thing, and then getting to a tunnel. And all along the way, make sure Shimmering's up. So after you volted, maybe you've killed some people, and now you're running and stretching the targets out. Some are chasing, some can't chase. A lot of them are spending their stamina. You are too, but you have decent stam. And if you can get to a tunnel, you can start heavy attacking mobs, which is usually what I'll do. So you know, I've gone in, I've done whatever, I ulted the target. Now it's time to pull back. People are chasing me. Keep this Shimmering Shield up. Here's something I can heavy attack off of. Alright? And if you have the... Let me get the Asylum on. That's probably what I should be showing you this with. As much as I love Brawler, I want to use Brawler more, I guess is what I mean. I'm tired of always having to be funneled into the same skills. You know, I like to try to make use of things that don't get used. But again, yeah, you can pull off, you know, into the tunnel, come here, and always finish on the two-hander. If you have an Asylum like that, you can, you know, execute it and build, but you get Battle Rush for 30% more stam regen. Alright? So between heavy attacking and getting Battle Rush up and then Asylum, it allows you to kite out, you know, come in, get an ult off. Alright, now the people are chasing you, right? Okay, Shimmering Shield. They hit my shield. I come in here. I wait. Put up another shield. Get right back into it. I almost have an ult up. You know? The other thing is you wanna keep summoning your pet too. That also generates ult. We'll list that in the passives. This little guy, he gives you 4 ult. Cooldown at 8 seconds. So I think that mostly covers it. I'm gonna show you my buff stats, I guess, ultimately, but like they kind of vary depending on. I would find what's comfortable for you. Make sure you have enough stam regen in this build that you're comfortable with it. You know, that's really important. But otherwise, you're looking at a pretty decent crit, like pretty high stam recovery, 2676. That is with killing something with your two-hander. It's very important to do. You know, if you can. So, yeah, I'm not sure what else. A lot of people ask what the outfit is. I can show you that too. Trying to rack my brain on things people would ask. People always ask. They say the character looks cool. Just got a Trinamax sword and axe. Full Daggerfall armor except the shoulders are regatta. That's it. Then some crown thing from the crown store. You know. But you know, that's what I'm running. You can make this build what you want. You don't want to do Vicious Death. You just want to be very strong all around and not have that AoE capability in solo. I would run Shacklebreaker then, or maybe Spriggans would be your best offensive option. You could do a lot with that. I may be trying Spriggans and run around solo, just because it'll be very, very strong and pretty absurd on its damage. But when you run into like those 10 plus people or something, those times that have vicious death are very strong, which is what I made the build for. I do play in group play, and I did make this to function within my group depending on what I had on, which is why I have options of how I swing things around depending on the situation. But you can certainly play solo with this very, very effectively. But it's a lot of fun. It's a great IC build. You can kill whatever you want down here with this. You know, this really pans out well. I mean, I'm using this during the event when you should expect the most people down here, so that should say a lot about it. And kind of where Warden's at. It's very dominant, and in group play, it's kind of unmatched. It brings so much to the table, and it brings the highest burst, which is really the biggest thing about it. Its sustain is great. Its ability to build ult is better than anyone else. It has a lot. So that's the Imperial City build on the Stam Warden. I guess these are not definite, but I'll show them now. Whatever I have in here, which I haven't looked at really. But my CP, we have, here's Green Tree. Again, none of this is set really. I rarely play CP, but during the event, obviously I need to move around the CP. This thing is built for the punch here on the blue tree. As you can see, it's really built for that combo of Subterranean Dawnbreaker and Steel Tornado. If there was something wrong in here, I wouldn't have even really known, honestly. But I'll probably... That might change when I post it, and I can post the details on that. I'll be putting this on Outcast's site as well, so you guys know. So there'll be a little more information I can fill in there. I'm going to kind of figure out...
Bitch.
Son of a bitch. Somebody... Thank you for the follow. Wow. If you want to go to his site here, I'm just pulling it up. I'm going to be putting my builds on Outcast's site. I talked to him about it. I really like his site. I've been mentioning it in my stream a lot and linking it already because he does really good guides. He keeps up-to-date content. So if you're interested in ESO, any builds, general information, I recommend going over and checking it out. This is his site. But I'll probably throw, I talked to him about it, and he probably put stuff here, probably under PvP and whatnot. Maybe throw up some of my other builds. This one's just kind of the IC one. But I'll look at doing other Stam classes because I've been playing a lot in BGs for the past couple months. People have been asking builds. I've just been going around trying different things. But yeah, I'll put all those up. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Hope you enjoy the build. Hope you enjoy IC. It's been a pretty good time when there is PvP. Some days are a little slower than others, but this build is cutting through everything. It is really dominant. So hope you enjoy it, guys. I will catch you next time.